Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the secrets companies try to hide in their SEC filings, and let me tell you, Vulcan Materials Company has something interesting to report. Today we're diving into a current report, an 8K filing, that dropped on the 17th of February 2026. This isn't a deep dive into their quarterly or annual performance, but it is still packed with details you need to know, especially about their recent financial results. And hey, before we get started, if you love getting straight insights from these complex documents, make sure you are subscribed. Please join our Discord community linked in the description below for more deep dives and discussions. So, what exactly is an 8K filing? Think of it as a company's way of telling everyone about major events that happen suddenly. It's like breaking news for investors, and the public companies have to file this when something significant takes place that investors would want to know about right away, like big financial results, executive changes, or important legal stuff. The main date here is the 17th of February 2026, and this filing is about Vulcan Materials Company. You might know them as a major producer of construction aggregates, asphalt, and ready mixed concrete. They are a pretty big player in the building materials industry, and their performance is often a good indicator of the health of the construction sector. The most important part of this filing is tucked away in item 2.02. This is where Vulcan Materials Company announced their financial results for the fourth quarter, which ended on the 31st of December 2025. Now, this isn't the full detailed report you'd see in a quarterly filing, but it's a summary and a crucial heads up. And where do we find these juicy financial details? They've attached a press release as Exhibit 99.1. Think of this press release as the company's official statement giving us the key highlights of their financial performance for that last quarter of 2025. Companies usually put the most positive spin on these press releases, so we always have to look closely between the lines. This section, item 9.01, is basically the filing's table of contents for attachments. It lists all the supporting documents. Here it is again, Exhibit 99.1. This isn't just any press release, it's the one that holds the answer to how Vulcan Materials performed financially in the fourth quarter of 2025. Then we have Exhibit 104. This is the cover page interactive data file. It's part of what's called inline XBRL, which is a way for companies to submit their financial data in a machine-readable format. It helps analysts and regulators process the information more easily and quickly. It's good for transparency, but honestly, it's a bit technical for our purposes today. And finally, the signatures. This is the official sign-off, confirming that the company is filing this report and taking responsibility for its contents. Denson N. Franklin III, Senior Vice President, General Counsel, and Secretary, has duly signed this on behalf of Vulcan Materials Company on the 17th of February 2026. This just formalizes the filing. Now, let's get to the heart of the matter, the financial results themselves. While this 8K doesn't contain the full financial tables, the press release it references is where the story lies. We need to imagine what that press release likely contained. For the fourth quarter ended the 31st of December 2025, companies like Vulcan Materials typically report key figures such as revenue, cost of goods sold, operating income, net income, and earnings. Per S-Hair, for a company like Vulcan Materials, a strong fourth quarter is crucial. It often wraps up the year and sets the tone for the next. Wednesday be looking for growth in revenue, meaning they likely sold more materials or at higher prices. Wednesday also be examining their profitability. Did they manage their costs effectively? Did their net income increase compared to the previous year's fourth quarter? A rising net income would suggest the company is not only selling more, but also keeping more of that money as profit. We also need to consider earnings per S-Hair, or EPs. This is a critical metric that shows how much profit is allocated to each outstanding share of common stock. A higher EPs generally indicates a more profitable company, which is attractive to investors. If the EPs went up, it's a positive sign for shareholders. Conversely, a decrease in EPs could signal challenges. Think about it this way, if their revenue grew by say 10%, that is pretty good. But if their costs grew by 15%, their profit margin would shrink, and operating income could actually fall. That is the kind of nuance we look for. We want to see revenue growth that outpaces cost increases. Vulcan Materials operates in a cyclical industry heavily tied to construction and infrastructure spending. So the context of the broader economy in late 2025 is important. Were there major government infrastructure projects underway? Was the housing market strong? These external factors heavily influence demand for their products. If the economy was humming along, we'd expect Vulcan to perform well. If there were signs of a slowdown, we'd be looking for resilience in their numbers. Now, Let's think about how we would usually analyze the numbers if they were here. If we saw revenue jump significantly, we'd ask why. Was it organic growth, meaning they sold more from their existing operations, or did they acquire another company? If we saw their cost of goods sold rise dramatically, we'd question whether it was due to higher raw material prices, increased labor costs, or perhaps inefficiencies in their production. For instance, if their gross profit margin, which is revenue minus the cost of goods sold as a percentage of revenue, had declined, it would be a red flag. It would mean that for every dollar of sales, they are keeping less money after covering the direct costs of producing their goods. This could be due to increased competition forcing them to lower prices or rising input costs that they cannot fully pass on to their customers. Similarly, we'd look at operating expenses. These are the costs of running the business beyond direct production, like sales, marketing, and administrative costs. If operating expenses are growing faster than revenue, it's a sign of potential inefficiency or a strategic decision to invest more in growth. We'd want to understand the narrative behind any significant changes. As for the implications, strong financial results often lead to a higher stock price. Investors are willing to pay more for a company that is consistently generating profits and growing. It can also mean more investment back into the company for research and development, expansion, or returning capital to shareholders through dividends or stock buybacks. Weak results, on the other hand, can lead to a declining stock price and pressure from investors to make changes. Overall, this 8K, by referencing that press release, is Vulcan Materials' official communication about their immediate financial health as 2025 came to a close. It's designed to keep the market informed about significant developments. Looking at Vulcan Materials Company from a broader perspective, they are in a foundational industry. Their success is intrinsically linked to economic growth and infrastructure development. A key strength is their established market position and extensive network of operations. However, they are also exposed to the volatility of commodity prices, labor availability, and environmental regulations. The story in this filing, even without the detailed spreadsheets, is about how they navigated the economic landscape of late 2025 and what that means for their immediate future. In my opinion, Vulcan Materials, like many companies in the materials sector, is highly sensitive to macroeconomic trends. The announcement of their fourth quarter results through this 8K is a vital check. While we don't have the granular details here, the fact they are reporting is important. Their ability to manage costs while demand fluctuates is a significant ongoing challenge and a key indicator of their management skill. A strong fourth quarter performance, as suggested by the filing, would indicate good operational execution and potentially a positive outlook for their sector. Conversely, any hints of margin compression or slowing revenue growth in that press release would be a cause for concern, suggesting potential headwinds in their market or rising costs that they are struggling to offset. The primary risk for Vulcan is always tied to the broader economy. A recession or a significant slowdown in construction would directly impact their bottom line. An opportunity lies in capitalizing on any government-backed infrastructure spending initiatives, which can provide a consistent revenue stream regardless of short-term economic fluctuations. Alright, that is our breakdown of what Vulcan Materials Company's latest filing is telling us. What is your take on these financial updates and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps us out, and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate filings. Don't forget to check out the Discord link in the description for our community discussions. Thanks for watching, see you next time.